Hello, I'm Gepwin and welcome back to another mine vlog. I have to say it slowly some days. Really do. This is number 4. Might be coming out on a Wednesday or Tuesday. One of them days in the middle of the week. It's like I didn't have time to do it on Monday. Well, actually, I'm doing it on Monday. I didn't have time to do it with Monday's video. Also, I'm stuffed up, apparently. I'm sorry for that. Hopefully, I can edit out if that made a horrible noise. I do these things like on the fly, so these are a little weird and unedited. Like, you know, they're unedited if you've been watching these. I'm going on about nothing because I've sat here. I got in front of the mic. I was like, well, I should do an hour of the mining recording. I need to get stuff in the game so that I can do things, you know, tonight and tomorrow to make Wednesday's episode. And I sat down, and then instead of recording the voiceover or the visuals, I turned on YouTube and started watching the Moana soundtrack because I got kind of into a Disney song hole. And that's what I've been doing for the last 15 minutes to procrastinate on making this, because I feel like I've been talking about some really depressing things the last 3 weeks, and I wanted to try to talk about something more upbeat, but I'm not a super upbeat kind of person. I'm just not. Even when I'm hanging out with friends or my girlfriend or just talking to people in general, it's usually not about super upbeat things. We make fun of a lot of stuff, and we joke about not upbeat things, and we joke about people who are upbeat. But it's not super, upbeat conversations. One of our friends has started this thing where she calls for good vibes, and none of us can do it at all, and it's kind of become a running gag. But anyway, I did want to start out with I had a couple of little ideas of things to talk about. So this might be a slightly shorter vlog, we'll see. First, I wanted to say thank you to everyone, because I've actually been getting a large amount of support for all the things that I've been doing recently, and it's very much appreciated and more than a little surprising on some levels. When I started doing the Minecraft content, I talked about this when I started in the first mine vlog. I had realized that it's kind of one of the things that I'd wanted to be doing for a while and was kind of shying away from because I was nervous about doing something that's so oversaturated and that so many people are doing. And I also knew that it was somewhat disparate from the things that I had been doing before and had built part of my following on. So I knew it was such a big change that I was probably going to start losing some subscribers, which I didn't care that much about. I understand, if a channel you subscribe to radically changes the content that's coming out, it makes sense. But I've been gaining a decent amount as well, and more quickly than I expected, based on how oversaturated the Minecraft world is. And I've also been getting a lot of support saying that people like my style and I'm doing things that they don't really see that many people doing, and also just giving me a ton of support on these vlog things, where I have to admit I'm a little nervous every time I get on here and talk about either personal things or a lot of really depressing stuff, because I know not everybody wants to sit around and listen to depressing stuff for half an hour, and the fact that so many of you have come in and used it as a spot to be able to talk about similar experiences that you've had and kind of further what I've been trying to talk about is really great, and I very much appreciate it. I even have a couple emails from people that I need to answer that I apologize. I am slow at answering emails, but I always do if people email me. It just takes me a little bit. So that's basically what I want to talk about with that. Thank you all for your support, for sharing your thoughts and things on all of this stuff. I think I have yet to get a dislike on one of the Minecraft videos, which I know completely jinxes it, but it's still nice for a while. It's gonna happen eventually. It's just YouTube, but it's pretty nice how much openness and support everyone is showing right now, and it's something that I have been trained to not expect from the internet all of the time. And I've hit big sections of it over the years that I've been working online, and it constantly not only surprises me but heartens me, which I guess I'm using as the opposite of dishearten in this context, because I don't think that's a proper use of that word. But it really makes me enjoy what I do more, because, you know, working around nice people, doing things for people who do seem to appreciate all the work that you put into stuff really helps. So, you know, just on my behalf, I wanted to say thank you, and just for any other content creator, they work as hard or harder than I do on their stuff most of the time. I'm still at the lower end of putting work in on things because I'm still learning. But, you know, anytime you see a content creator you like, remember that they spend hours and hours and hours making this thing that you enjoy. So yeah, if you can have the time to tell them that you appreciate all the stuff you're going in, it really means a lot to, I know, everyone who I've ever talked to who does this sort of thing, and it's really fun. Switching over, I thought I'd talk a little bit about the crushing disappointment in this week's video. So far, if you haven't watched Monday's video, minor spoilers for that, in that I found the end dungeon. I was planning to get some stuff set up there, because I don't want to fight the, end boss thing yet, but I want some frickin' elytra. I've never gotten them. I see other people flying around with them all the time. It looks so much fun and better than walking, and I just want it. I just want it, and I want to have it for my own. What is Christmas Town? Christmas Town was what that was from. The Nightmare Before Christmas song. I just spent 5 minutes trying to remember a song lyric that I sort of half used. I think I've said this before, maybe I should stop doing these things first thing after I wake up. Seems a little more free-flowy than I intend. Anyway, I died to just a ton of silverfish. It was just... I only put part of it in the video because it stretched out for so long. But just, silverfish don't do a lot of damage, but there were millions of them, and I accidentally got myself trapped in a room with them all, and couldn't get out, and was just slowly getting killed, and the inevitability of it was kind of crushing. And then I lost all of the equipment and stuff that I had, and yeah, it was actually a pretty major setback. I had to spend, I had something else to do, so it worked out, but I had to spend about 3 hours doing AFK fishing in order to get back the experience and the books, and I still haven't gotten all the equipment reset up. So it was pretty major, considering how much this is an equipment-based game, and you need to keep your equipment up and working it around in order to progress at any kind of reasonable pace. So I just got so crushed, and I had to switch over to the AFK fishing and stop playing for a bit, and I got worried with myself because I have been kind of so trained on perfection growing up. My dad was kind of a perfectionist. I had this expectation kind of hammered into me that perfection is what is expected of you. They flat out said, you don't get rewarded for getting straight A's. It's what you are expected to do in school is just the expectation, and anything less than that is a disappointment. And that kind of instilled the sort of thing of well, that's it. That's all. Imperfect. It's done now. I have to either do something else or restart, and I just Minecraft is not that kind of game. And my mind, part of my mind really tries to impose that standard on everything, including things that makes absolutely no worldly sense to apply it to. For example, Minecraft, there is absolutely no optimal way to play this game. That's one of the things that I enjoy about it. You cannot play it in an optimal way. A lot of other games have you can practice for hours on Halo and have the super optimal headshot and movement pattern and whatever, and that makes you better than other people. And there's so many building games that are all about perfect machines and ratios that are objectively the correct way to do it because they work better than somebody else's. That's Infinifactory and Opus Magnum, that was the puzzle game I was thinking about. Now, some of that is cool because, you know, Infinifactory, Opus Magnum give you different things to shoot for that are mutually exclusive, which is kind of fun about those. I'm so done with puzzle games for a while, though. They get so frustrating for me because of this stuff. Because, you know, you can only be perfect the first time you try something, and that's kind of a problem with some of the perfectionist, this kind of perfectionism, because it's not the, you know, work really hard and improve and try to make things as perfect as you can. No, it is, if you are not perfect all of the time, you have failed. Therefore, the first time you do anything has to be perfect, because the second time you do it, you've already failed at it. So that's kind of an issue, and, you know, I was actually kind of legitimately frightened that part of me would, like, just get really upset and go, no, delete this save. That's it. I have to, like, start over. That would be so disappointing and soul-crushing. Like, I did a thing ages ago, years ago. It's still up. You could find it. Where I did a short run of super hardcore, like the hardcore Minecraft stuff where, you know, the one death thing. And I couldn't do anything. I was so stressed out. I kind of got a little bit of a base started and then died on, like, the 4th day. And that's something I do. Like, I die in Minecraft. I don't consider it in my mind, it's not a problem. It's not failing until I lose all of my stuff, because that's when the progression starts over. With that kind of gear-based thing, I think it would be the same in any gear-based game. Like, if you could lose your armor and things in Breath of the Wild, I think I would consider that a bad thing too. Or if you could lose your equipment permanently in Diablo, you know, I'd very much compare Minecraft's progression to Diablo's in the loot system, except it's not exactly loot, but, you know, what your armor and weapons and equipment can do is very much tied to your abilities in the game, rather than some abstract leveling up thing like a JRPG or like Skyrim. Like, you can find the best sword in the game, but you are level 5, and, you know, so you can tickle someone with it. I've completely lost track of what I was trying to say with that. Basically, don't try to be perfect is bad. No, like, I get upset because there's like 2 ways that people use perfectionism, and one is kind of my way, which is very negative. It, like, feels negative to me, because it's like, you know, do this thing perfect the first time, be perfect all the time. You have to count on your innate abilities to get through life, and it's not a good way to try to go through things, because inevitably your innate abilities will fail you because you haven't learned some things, and you just have to learn some stuff in order to progress with certain parts of your life. So feeling like you failed utterly at those the first time you try any of them stinks. But what makes it kind of worse is just the other kind of perfectionism that people talk about. When someone goes like, well, I'm a little bit of a perfectionist, so I spent 16 hours making this thing as perfect as possible, and look how great it is now, but I still hate it. Because you always hate the things you make. It's just, you know, inevitable. But, you know, that kind of person, I'm sure it's annoying. I'm sure it stinks to be able to have to, like, work on something endlessly until you've reached some arbitrary thing in your head that nobody else is going to notice, but at least you did something productive. Like, I'm certainly not trying to reduce anybody else's problems or belittle them at all. This is just, like, part of me gets so upset when people talk about perfectionism in that way, because it's like, yeah, but you did something. You didn't sit there going like, I can never make something good, why try? Which is something I get sometimes. And that kind of segues over to the third topic that I kind of had something for, because I guess we spent, you know, a decent amount of this video. I could fit in, like, one more little thing, which, for lack of a better term, I'm going to call writer's block. And I'm actually curious about this. Any of you who do play Minecraft or other creative things, or any creative thing, really, how do you get over your blank block? I call it writer's block because it's the most common term, but obviously that doesn't apply. So what I'm talking about is, like, yesterday, I'd gotten some stuff set up for Monday's video, and I was sitting down on Sunday to record the rest of it and get it ready to go. And I sat down and I stared at the screen and I just blanked out and had no ideas. Like, no ideas. That's why I kind of went off and tried to do some game progression. And why I did kind of a Twitter poll so that somebody else could make a decision for me, which was very unhelpful because at first it tied one way, then it tied a different way, then it tied 3 ways, and then it wound up tying in a 3rd way. That's... I don't know. It helped me make the decision at any rate. But, like, I have trouble just, you know, brainstorming what I should be working on any given day with this stuff. And I do have to keep up quite a pace because I know this is a schedule that I set for myself. I wanted to do 3 videos a week on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. It's a schedule that I like. It keeps me going. It keeps me focused. It makes it so that I have to put a lot of work in most of the time. And then I've got some of these little side videos that I slot in just to break things up. And it's kind of a hectic pace. Like, I literally have to be working on this basically every spare moment I have in order to get these up, and I enjoy it. But if I don't have an idea, it makes it so hard. Like right now I'm sitting here doing this because I don't want to go do the, well, and I'm going to do the hour of mining to get resources, but half of it's because I don't want to do the frickin' I don't want to start in the jungle village because I guess what I'm going to have to do is spend like a whole day in the creative world trying to figure out what the jungle village is supposed to look at, partly because I'm very bad at building. I'm okay at the redstone side of things. The building side of things I've never spent a huge amount of time getting good at. The builds that I'm doing now are the best builds that I have done. They're like, bar none, look 100 times better than anything I've ever done because I put a lot of time in watching tutorials and trying to figure out a few things with that just to get my skills up. So like, that's one of the things. If anybody has tips for getting over your creative block, that's the word I was looking for. It exists. The creative block. It's a thing people say. I have a headache. It's distracting. I get migraines, which just, oh, it stinks. And my doctor is being stingy about my migraine meds for no reason. I think they just want me to have to like go in for another appointment because they want to scam my insurance or some other stuff. I'm sorry, I'm on another tangent. This feels like it might be a migraine though. Ugh, I hate those. Anyway, what do you do to get over your creative block that's not talking about migraines? Or, you know, tips for learning building. I can learn redstone. Redstone is programming. It's just, you know, bigger, mostly. It's like length-based instead of number-based programming, which is an interesting idea. So I'm learning that. I have like a redstone tutorial that I need to record this week. It's just sitting there staring at me with its beady little redstone eyes going, why haven't you recorded me yet? And why is there a siren? Sirens. I'm just waiting to do things. Living in Brooklyn. Life in Brooklyn. Sirens everywhere. There was a bulldozer on the street all night yesterday. Clearing snow. They had a bulldozer outside to clear the snow from the blizzard last week. And it like kept backing up, you know, that really loud backup beep that construction equipment makes. That's like louder than, you know, vans and trucks and things. It was doing that so much that I forgot about it. Like there was this horrible, horrific beeping noise going on every you know, half a minute or something, because it would go up and move snow and then back up and go up and move snow. And I was just sitting there working, and then my girlfriend made an offhand comment to it, and I was like, oh my god, like I meant to talk about that because I noticed earlier that they were moving snow with a bulldozer, and I was like, oh, I'll tell her that next time this thing's making noise, because it's kind of weird to watch a giant bulldozer piling snow outside. But it just went on for so long that I had completely toned out this like horrible beeping noise, and you know, didn't become aware of it again until she said something. So that was just kind of funny to me. Anyway, if you have any tips for getting over creative block in this game, or what you do to learn better building techniques besides watching green tutorials, I guess, because I do a lot of that. but any tips, tricks, etc. would be very helpful, because I am trying to learn. This is very much about me trying to learn the game. Try to tell you how I'm learning the game. Hopefully maybe you'll get something out of my learning experience that will preclude you having to make the same mistakes that I am. I think that's most of what I wanted to talk about. I went on a couple of tangents, talked about some stuff. This is a slightly shorter episode. I've been a little bit pressed for time this week. I'm trying to work ahead, and it's not working at all. I need to try to work ahead a bit because I have a vacation coming up. It's only a couple weeks, but I still want to put content out while I'm away, even if I have to pare it down to 2 videos a week. So I need to really buckle down and work ahead. And also have like a meeting I need to get to tonight, like an appointment thing in the afternoon. It's just eating. It feels like it all eats into your day when you have something in the afternoon. You're like, I can spend time working on this thing, and it's like, no, you have this meeting coming up. You can't do anything. It gets in my head. Well, that's all for now. If you liked this vlog, you can leave a like so I know to make more things like this in the future. I always have a little bit of trouble thinking about what I'm going to talk about in these things. So if you have topics you'd like to hear my opinions on, or things you'd like me to cover, if you let me know, I could try to formulate some thoughts on that throughout the week that I could talk about on Mondays. Which this vlog starts not coming out on Mondays a lot. Yeah, I guess I don't have a set day for this anymore, because it's whenever I can slot in an hour and a half to make one, basically. So that's about how long this takes. There was a point in there. Right, like, comment, subscribe. That was my point, but I try to say it in a different way so you don't notice. But you all notice. You always notice. You, YouTube person. You. Yes, do those things I said. Also, you can follow me or talk to me on Twitter, because I spend way too much time there as well. I'm Gepwin. Thank you very much for listening, and I will see you soon.